What up, what up, what up? What's going on, everybody? Happy Friday. It's been a long time coming. Haven't seen you guys in a long time. It's great to see you finally. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Happy Friday, everybody. Hopefully, you guys had a great Memorial Day weekend last week. Sorry for the delay. It's been a lot of stuff that's been going on here at work in regards to just getting everything situated. But now I have more time, more energy to for everybody out there, for all my fans. How's everybody doing out there? Of course, this is KC from the basement with Next Step in K. I am part of the dynamic duo, which we call Next Step and K. I am K, also, of course, Clippers fan, diehard New York Jets fan, diehard Maryland Terrapins fan, and also, he's probably at work right now. He's probably doing his thing. He's holding it down. Super dad extraordinaire. Next Step, aka Larry. He's out there working hard out there at the airport, getting it done. And also doing other little things. He does construction, so if you need some construction, please don't hesitate to inbox like your number. I'll definitely get the information out to him so he can make moves out there. So, but definitely, how's everybody doing out here? It's Friday. It's a beautiful day. It's going to be a beautiful weekend. Shout out to LaShawn and her Girl Scout troop out there with Paige, aka the Extra P. Going out on their Girl Scouting trip, their annual Girl Scouting trip out there. So, ladies, be careful out there. Shout out to Enon. Shout out to Girl Scout. I believe Girl Scout Troop 9152. I believe. So, shout out to them. And also, I want to shout out to the Boston Celtics, and also shout out to the Dallas Mavericks. I know Dr. Kyle's Mavericks, aka Dr. Kyle, aka the Baby Bro, aka the Black Psychologist Podcast. Definitely get a listen whenever you get a chance. I know he's probably dancing in the street right now. I got a chance to actually talk to him yesterday, and he was pretty ecstatic. I saw some of the text messages from last night. I was ready to wake him up this morning and see what's going on, see how happy he is. But the Mavericks have been here before. They've been here a couple times. I believe this is going to be their third time going to the finals. I remember they went to the finals that year, and I believe, did they lose to? Who did they lose to? Oh, they lost to the Miami Heat. Then the year after, I believe it was 2011. Then they beat the Heat, and then after that, now they're going to face Boston in the 2024 NBA Finals. So let me just get the quick recap. The Dallas Mavericks won 4-1 in the Western Conference Finals, pretty much, aka a gentleman's sweep. They could have swept them a couple days ago, but I guess they wanted to. I guess they just wanted to embarrass them on the Timberwolves floor. So shout out, shout out to the Timberwolves. Shout out to the Dallas Mavericks for getting it done. My brother and I, Dr. Kyle and I from the Black Psychologist Podcast, we were talking about it yesterday in regards to what do the Mavericks have to do in order to get the win in convincing fashion, of course. And basically, I told him, I was like, listen, and I told him, he told me basically that Kyrie has to get in gear. He has to pretty much score over 20. Luka has to score over 20. Luka was actually on a roll in the first quarter. I believe he had like 17, maybe 19 points in the first quarter. So I kind of knew. And usually in closeout games, usually when your star player is dropping like 20 points in the first half at least, it's pretty much a good indication that that team is actually going to win. So with no further ado, Dallas Mavericks win 4-1. Kyrie Irving had 36 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists. Luka Doncic, the most valuable player in the Western Conference Finals. Luka Doncic had 36 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists. PJ Washington, definitely the X factor, was definitely hooping. 12 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals. Also, Derek Lively Jr., I know he's dancing. Definitely, mom is smiling down on him. Shout out to Penn State. She was definitely a baller at Penn State, too. Shout out to our Penn State Lions. Role players definitely played a part in there in the Dallas win. For Minnesota, Anthony Edwards Ant-Man had 28 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, 1 block, 1 steal. Karl Anthony Towns came back to life, 28 points, 12 rebounds, 2 assists, pretty much left it all on the field, left it all on the floor. Rudy Gobert had a pedestrian 9 points, 5 rebounds, 1 assist, and 1 steal. There was a time that I was watching that they were running pick and rolls for Rudy Gobert. I'm like, no, 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 no. You're supposed to run pick and rolls through Karl Anthony Towns. You run it through him because But like I said, Ant Man. Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns definitely did a great job out there. I mean, a couple naysayers were kind of hating on Cat, talking about something he's not playing. He's playing a little sassy, but I don't think he was. Because this is the farthest that besides like the Kevin Garnett, that Kevin Garnett year when they lost to, I believe they lost to either San Antonio or they lost to the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals. To get there, and or what's the Sacramento? Or did they lose to Sacramento to get to the Western Conference Finals? But this might have been the farthest that Minnesota has got in regards as a franchise. So definitely, shout out to Minnesota because it only gets tougher. And at the end of the day, there's only going to be one winner at the end. There's going to be one winner and a whole bunch of runner-ups. So. Actually, I want Dallas to win because so that way I can just use the excuse. When people start talking about my Clippers, I can just use the excuse. Well, listen, we lost to the champs, so we really, y'all can't really say anything. To all you Sixers fans out there, and also too to all you Sixers fans out there, you're not going to get Paul George. Let me just put this in the atmosphere right now. You guys are not going to get Paul George. Shout out to Ty Lue. Ty Lue just got his contract extension. As a matter of fact, let's see here. Actually, Ty Lue was locked in. Excuse me, let me get my paperwork here. Ty Lue actually got a new deal through the 28-29 season. That's going to actually make him one of the NBA's highest paid coaches at that time. It's actually at $14 million per year. Now, to be honest with you, only thing we have to do is just get PG and Harden situated. Kawhi, we got to get him situated too. We got to just get him healthy. I mean, he was healthy for, pretty much for the entire regular season. And I appreciate that. I definitely appreciate that, Kawhi, because without Kawhi, PG, and Harden, we wouldn't be where we're at now. So, you can definitely call in any questions, concerns, complaints, predictions. Definitely give us a call, 302-844-8275. Number again is 302-844-8275. On Instagram, we are at _dub_basement_podcast, and YouTube in the basement podcast. Facebook, of course, sounds so good you got to name it twice, in the basement podcast. So let's get busy. Dallas wins the series 4-1. Is going to face Boston in the NBA Finals on this upcoming Thursday, June the 6th. Definitely going to be a great matchup. So we're definitely going to get into that a little bit later down the line in a couple minutes. But I'd definitely be remiss if I didn't mention this. We have lost another legend in the name of the great Bill Walton. November 1952 to May 2024. Bill Walton, a great one. A lot of people disagree with that because, they say he was riding Bird, McHale, and Parrish's coattails like to the NBA Finals. But keep in mind, for all you old heads out there, especially Sixers fans, for all you old heads out there who watched Bill Walton's greatness in high school, college, and a little bit of the pros when he played for them, when he got drafted by the Blazers, actually number one pick, overall pick for the Blazers back in, I think, 74, if I'm not mistaken. I believe it's like 73 or 74. Bill Walton was that dude. Definitely one of the greater centers of all time. If he didn't have those back, knee, and foot injuries, because keep in mind, like for a big man, the shelf life for a big man, especially regarding their feet and their knees, shelf life is pretty short. Like you got, look at Yao Ming, look at LaMarcus Aldridge, look at Shaq. I even throw Shaq in there because Shaq started to have bad knees too, like supporting all that weight. Once the knees go, that's it. You only get one pair of knees, man. You got to treat them good. That's why I don't, that's why I don't play on the concrete anymore. A lot of people say, "Oh, okay, you're soft. You don't want to play on the concrete. You ain't no real baller." No, I'm a real baller. I just paid my dues. That's all. We paid our dues when we were little. When we used to go, play outside in the concrete in the back of the schoolyards, and sometimes even when we went to some of the different basketball camps, they would have like an outdoor. They have like an outdoor area where you would like get coached and trained, stuff like that. But after a while, we started going inside, playing on hardwood and stuff like that. I don't know if you want to say pause, whatever the case may be. It is what it is, But out there playing, playing on the floor, on the gym floor, that was it. Like I really had no place to play outside anymore. Like what's the use of playing outside? The only time I used to play outside was playing outside in the driveway. And when I used to repeatedly beat my brother in basketball 1-on-1, then one day he beat me, never wanted to play me again. Kyle, I'm still looking for that rematch. Dr. Kyle, I'm talking to you. Anyway, all that to say this, definitely rest in peace to Bill Walton. Let me go down a list of some of the great Bill Walton's accomplishments. These are just some of them. These are some of them that I know about. First of all, he's a three-time National College Player of the Year, so we know he was that dude at UCLA. Three-time National Consensus First-Team All-American. Um, First of all, a lot of people turn their nose up at this, especially at Bill Walton, especially back in those times. But do you know how hard it is to be a three-time First-Team All-American? That's hard in a sense. I mean, I believe a couple people have done it. I don't know if Ray Allen has done it. Marcus Camby didn't do it. Uh, it's a pretty small list of um, college All Americans first team that made it consecutive. Some make it like maybe first team, maybe 1 year, then they make it again, maybe in their senior year, on their way out, things of that sort. Two-time national champion with UCLA. Of course, we know um, how legendary that program was back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. With the Wizard of Westwood. So many great players have came out through there from the past, like Lou Alcindor, Bill Walton, um, Mike Warren, Gail Goodrich. I mean, I can name so many players, and even up the players of today that were playing, in the finals, like, and were playing in the playoffs. Like you got Russell Westbrook, you got Kyle Anderson, you got Norman Powell. You got so many great players that actually came out of that UCLA program. Reggie Miller is another one. And one of the Collisons, uh, Drew Holiday, the Holiday brothers. It's quite a few of them. Quite a few of them out there. And I can name them all, but I can name them all in another podcast. But the only time I really didn't like UCLA was like 1995 because that's when they beat my beloved, Arkansas Razorbacks. I'm not an Arkansas fan. I'm a Maryland fan. But be honest with you, they should have. UConn should have beat them. On the way in there. But I guess it was just UCLA's time. That damn Toby Bailey and them reverse dunks. I mean, whatever. Um, Also, since he was a two-time NCAA champion. Also, he was a two-time NCAA Most Outstanding Player. Like that's also a great feat in its sense. Of course, number 32 is going to be retired. Was retired in UCLA, of course, along with a lot of other great players up there that are in those rafters. He's the winner of the James Sullivan Award. After that historical career, he goes into the NBA draft in 1974, number one overall pick by the Blazers, two-time NBA champ with the Blazers and the Celtics, two-time All NBA. I think it would have been longer. I think he would have probably had more All NBA uh, awards and listings, but probably just due to his back and his feet and stuff like that, and his knees. Two-time NBA All-Star. Also, back when he was with the Blazers, he was a 76-77 rebounding champ and blocks leader. Two-time NBA All-Defensive Team. 85-86 Six-Man of the Year when he's doing his comeback with the Celtics. 1977 NBA Finals MVP, NCAA Basketball Hall of Fame inductee in '06. Also, he's in Basketball Hall of Fame inductee in 1993 with the NBA. He played for the Portland Trailblazers, Los Angeles Clippers, and the Boston Celtics. Now, here's the thing with the Clippers thing. Basically, what happened with the Clippers? I think he played for the Clippers for maybe 10 minutes, if that. Because I don't even think he put on a jersey. And it was funny. It's funny with Bill Walton sometimes because sometimes he has to eat crow sometimes, and that was the beautiful thing about Bill. Like he will own up to it. Like when Bill said something bad about the Clippers and the Clippers made it to the playoffs those years, like he would literally go back and say, "Oh man, I didn't." The Clippers are a great franchise, except that time when we had to go through that unfortunate year with Donald Sterling and his mouth got him in trouble, and really put a black eye on the franchise and also a black eye on the league. Period. But other than that, I mean, definitely, rest in power, Bill Walton. I'm sure you're up there, doing fundamentals, showing fundamentals up there to other great centers up there, like, Bill Russell and Will. I'm sure you guys are having the time of your lives up there. Definitely rest in power. Um, Great guy. Great commentator too. As a matter of fact, a true story. He actually commentated some of one of my favorite games, and the game that I'm talking about is actually the game when Marvin O'Connor went nuts against Stanford in I believe that was 2000 or 2001. Um, and he actually did the commentary, and I would just listen to it. I was like, whoa, this is good commentary, because usually I don't listen to a lot of Bill Walton. I'm going to be totally honest with you. Bill Walton wasn't one of my favorite commentators, um, but in this particular instance, like, Bill Walton was really having the game moving. I mean, he was definitely shouting out, Catholic League basketball. He was shouting out Philadelphia basketball. I mean, he was shouting out the players, he was shouting out the coaches. I mean, it just made you feel good to be a college basketball fan. But even though Bill, even though you weren't one of my favorite commentators, I mean, you're definitely in my top 10. But it's just sometimes it was just very humorous how he used to go off the rails sometimes, and talk about other things besides basketball. And it took me as I got older to, like, it's not the fact that Bill is like going off on a tangent. It's the simple fact that Bill is just appreciating other things besides basketball, because life is bigger than basketball. And if you get a chance to actually watch the Luckiest Man in the World documentary on ESPN, the 30 by 30, I think it's like a four-part documentary that I think all basketball fans should get a chance to take a look at. They cover his time from when he was in college. They cover his time when he was with the Blazers. And keep in mind, he was a beast for the Blazers. I mean, he might have not have been a beast for the Celtics. He was more of like a six-man role player, coming off the bench for the Celtics. But when he was playing for the Blazers, when he was in prime form in like the mid to late 70s, this dude was a stone cold locomotive. Like, you needed a shot, you needed a pass. He was like the ultimate teammate. Also, as a matter of fact, I got a chance and privilege. I'm not even going to say the chance. I got the privilege to actually interview and edit and transcribe Bill Walton's interview, and it was just a joy to like listen to like his insight. And man, it was just an honor. And I hopefully, shout out to Scoopy Radio, shout out to Scoop and everything. And I hope that this definitely goes in the memoirs of some of those better interviews, the greater interviews that we had. I mean, all the interviews are great, but it's just certain ones that just stick out, like Shaq, Tim Thomas, Jelly Bean Bryant, Earl the Pearl, like so many different interviews that Scoop has. So definitely, we get a chance, hit up Scoop's website, Scoopy Radio. Hit him up on YouTube as well, Scoopy Radio. So everything is all good. So yeah, definitely rest in peace to the great but never will be forgotten Bill Walton. Also, some sad news. I also definitely want to send my condolences from the pod to the Gordon family. Unfortunately, Drew Gordon. If you don't know who Drew Gordon is, he's actually the brother of NBA champ for the Denver Nuggets, Aaron Gordon. Also, Drew Gordon also played for the Sixers, and he was All American. Unfortunately, he died in a car accident in Portland yesterday. Um, Given from the information that he got from his agent, from Aaron Gordon's agent. Gordon played for the Philadelphia Sixers. He played couple games. Technically played like 9 games for the Sixers, but he was pretty much played overseas. He played in the Pro Basketball League in the G League. He played in Serbia, excuse me, Turkey, France, Lithuania, Poland, Ukraine, and a couple teams in Russia. He also played at UCLA, and he played in New Mexico as well. He is definitely survived by his wife Angela and 3 children, and we're definitely sending our prayers as the Gordon family is going through this tough time. Listen, Aaron Gordon, I know you're out there, man. Please hold your head, man, as you know your family's going through this turbulent time. Um, you know, Turning around to more positive news, um, the finals. Definitely congratulations to the Dallas Mavericks. 'Cause to be honest with you, I don't really think anybody thought the Dallas Mavericks were going to make it to the NBA Finals. I mean, now everybody is funny because a couple of friends of mine now all of a sudden they're like Luca fans now. I don't understand where this Luca love came from because I don't got no love for him. I mean, congratulations. I respect it. It's about time you beat us because we beat him every time that we played him in the playoffs. I'm just venting my hate. That's all. That's all I'm doing. But I am definitely glad that the Dallas Mavericks could have happened to a better team. I'm glad the Dallas Mavericks, have broken through and they're getting to the finals, especially with Luca. This is even better because now not only did you get to the NBA Finals with Dirk, now you got through with Luca now and Kyrie. Could this be, like I said, just like the title of the podcast, just a Kyrie revenge tour because everybody's talking about, how Kyrie can't do this. He's a terrible teammate. He doesn't do this. He doesn't cooperate with the media. He has different practices. He keeps to himself. He's aloof. He doesn't talk to anyone. So many different labels that that the league has hit him with, and he's just breaking these labels. So definitely congratulations to Kyrie. This is definitely the Kyrie redemption and revenge tour. Um, yeah. So, but for me, and a lot of people are questioning because a lot of people came to me at the office today. They're like, "Whoa, Ken, who's going to win the finals today? I think Boston. Boston's going to be too much for him. Jalen Brown and Jason Tatum and things of that sort." So here's my prediction. This is my prediction. This is coming from the heart. Um, I don't think you guys, for all you young bucks out there, I don't think you guys remember 2011 when the Mavericks went to the finals and they beat them in I think they beat the Miami Heat in 6 games. Because there was a time they were making fun of Dirk because I think Dirk had a cold or something like that, and they were just like, oh, I'm sick. I'm like Dirk, and everybody wore black, to the game, and I believe Dirk said either it was Dirk, Jason Terry, or Sean Marion said that, yo, we're only going to bring one suit today. We're bringing one suit and one suit only because we're not going back. And basically, they stayed true to the words and they beat them. But my prediction, you guys definitely remember 2011. Um, Dallas could be the team of destiny. Um, Boston really hasn't really been tested this season for real, for real. Because I've seen games. Um, but they really haven't been tested in the playoffs. Close games, but they pull out. Um, you know, got to work there. There was no Jimmy Butler in the first round. Like talk him, talk smack to him, and push him, push him to their level. Um, Donovan Mitchell, Tyrese Halliburton gave a little bit of challenge, but I mean they weren't really around because of injuries and stuff like that. Pretty much Tyrese Halliburton's injury in the third game of the series that kind of doomed them. That doomed them to a 0-3. They couldn't really dig themselves back out the hole. Um, Dallas's team is still together and they're still healthy, as a matter of fact. Also, quiet as kept. You might not agree with me with this, but if we're talking in regards of like closeout games and closers, you might not have to look farther than Luca and Kyrie. They don't mind taking those shots, especially Luca. Luca does not mind. Matter of fact, Luca wants to take that shot. He'll do his little boop between the legs, boop, 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 step back, shot. And he'll look at you and he'll look at the crowd and tell them to shut up. He might even say something, I think it was NSFW, not for women or something like that. Whatever it stood for, But he said something, and I don't think you really want to hear it. But like I said, Dallas has two great closers on that team. Now, I'm not going to say that Boston's going to be sitting there, defenseless because they still have Drew Holiday, they still got Derek White. They can kind of switch off on each other. They're two of the bigger, stronger guards that can switch on them and give them problems. So that'll be a test for Luca and Kyrie. But like I said, Luca knows Dallas. Luca knows pretty much what's going on. I mean, excuse me, not Luka. Kyrie kind of pretty much knows what's going on here. I think he can pretty much navigate his way through. He can kind of help Luka, get through this because Kyrie's been to the finals. What I guess this is his fourth time now. So he kind of knows. He can kind of settle the troops down. He kind of knows what they're going to go through in his own Kyrie way. He can talk to them. Um, also another thing that's underestimated around with Dallas too. This is what doomed us as well in the playoffs. Dallas now actually has height around them. This is what and this is what Kyle and I. Shout out to Dr. Kyle, the Black Psychologist podcast. Definitely listen to a spot. Shout out to SB Talk Sports as well. This is what Kyle and I were talking about through all the years. Like every time that Dallas and the Clippers met up in the playoffs, or just Dallas in the playoffs, period, they pretty much didn't have the size around it. It was more small ball, so they thought they could kind of beat us like by outscoring us. Not the case this time. Now, not only are they going to outscore, they can also outreach, out tall, out quick because they actually have a whole bunch of lanky, tall, 6'8", 6'9" guys, couple 6'10" dudes that can run around. They rim run. They really don't have any type of plays. They go up to the rim and go get it. They take it off. Sometimes they can take it coast to coast. Doesn't even matter. And they have height around them. That gives them, and also too, not only on the offensive side, but also on the defensive side, that has a lot of, versatility, role playing, and also too, when it's time to give it to when it's time to give it to the closers, they know to give it to the closers. They don't have to worry about like not deferring or not going to the script, which is Dallas might have that problem. Now, also when these games get like super tight, and these games will get tight because Dallas and Boston, like they're pretty much, I'm not gonna say they're a mirror image team, but they both have different things they're bringing to the table. Luke and Kyrie will make it. They can make it real uncomfortable for you out there, especially with Kyrie, because Kyrie's unpredictable. You don't know what type of group you're going to put him in. You put him as a point guard. Can you put him as a shooting guard? Shoot, he can put him as a three, and he can defend all three. He can pretty much defend 1 through 3. Luka can kind of do 1 through 4 on most switches. I mean, depending on the type of zone that they're playing. But I think that in most of these games, if the games get super duper tight, Kyrie, Luka, they pretty much got no conscience, and they have a high basketball IQ, and I think they're going to make just a couple more plays than Tatum and Brown and White and Holiday, and I think, to be honest with you, this is my thing. I think that they can win the series in 7, you know, and that's my final answer. Mavericks in 7, Luka and Kyrie get statues that next summer. There it is. Um, Also, I definitely want to, before I get out of here, I definitely want to go over, the Clippers head coach Ty Lue. Definitely congratulations. Also, I'd be remiss. Shout out to Jalen Childs. Shout out to the Childs family. Shout out to the Wrecking Crew. You know who you are. Shout out to E. I know you're going to be there. You're like the proud dad that you are. Basically, what I'm talking about is actually the All City Classic this evening. It's the Russell Butler All City Classic at Benjamin Franklin High School. It starts at 5:30. So if you're not doing anything, and you like a whole lot of basketball, you want to see some future college stars, future pros, and say, look, I got a chance to see him there. I knew him from back then. Definitely get a chance to see not only just Jalen Childs, but a great stacked roster. I got a chance to peek at the roster. Um, while over this week just to see like the finishing touches on who's going to be on what teams, stuff like that. Yeah, the teams are stacked. Teams are stacked. Lots of potential out there, man. So if you're not doing anything around 5:30, 6 o'clock, please definitely support the kids out there. They're going to be at Benjamin Franklin High School. The doors open at 5:30, if I'm not mistaken. But shout out to Jalen Child. Shout out to the Child's family. Miss J, I know you're looking down, beaming with pride as you always are, Miss J. And yeah, so definitely going to be a lot of talent. I definitely got to peek at the rosters. Like I said before, it's going to be a lot of talent on show tonight. I'm telling you. Also, before I get out of here, I definitely want to ask the question: is Kawhi Leonard's time up in Los Angeles? I don't think it is. I think we're going to give it maybe one more go. And I think this is going to pay dividends because only thing we got to do really is just get Paul George, James Harden, get them situated. Definitely make sure all the role players are locked in too, like the Norman Powell's and things of that sort. Make sure he's locked in. Make sure get Russ happy because we definitely need Russ. We need his energy. Um, Also, the before I get out of here, the rookie journey of Caitlin Clark. Now, a lot of people saying it's not fair that Caitlin's games are being televised over Amazon Prime, but yet we don't get a chance to see enough of Angel Reese's games. And yeah, I feel you on that because I watched a couple games on YouTube with Angel Reese. Shout out to the person who actually streamed and downloaded those games. You are a hero. Angel Reese has been hooping. Quiet as kept, not super duper spectacular numbers, but she's definitely getting up there. Couple double digits games, a couple 120-point game there. Caitlin Clark, same thing. She's definitely, she's not struggling, but she's definitely paying her dues. I think she's just getting used to the physicality of the professional league. It's not like how it was in Iowa where she has a set offense and she's just going to come down and just shoot. They're gonna meet her. They're gonna meet her full court. They're gonna push her. They're gonna shove her. They're gonna push her into the screens. They're gonna push her off the screens. They're gonna push her off of her on shots. They're gonna foul her. They're gonna frustrate her. Things of that sort. It's kind of like welcome to the league. This is what all players went through. LeBron went through it. AI went through it. Jordan went through it. Kobe went through it. Even Shaq went through it. A lot of the pros, Hall of Famers, they actually had to go through this. Like you're not going to just sit here and show us up. There's a little bit of pride here. But like I said, I was watching a couple of the games yesterday. Caitlin Clark had a pretty good performance. I believe she had like 20. She got into it with some of the other players. They were kind of like, shoving her and stuff like that, but, cooler heads prevailed. They came over and said, look, you're kind of like the face of the franchise right now. So, we need you. But she had 20 in the loss. I believe right now is if you check the records for the Indiana Fever, I believe they're like 1-8 right now. So, but it's still, like I said, still a long season. They can still come back. They can still kind of make their way, um, you know, throughout the league. So definitely just keep your eyes peeled for the upcoming stars. Not only just Caitlin and Angel. You got Cardoso, you got Tolliver and everybody. We also got a chance. I actually got a chance to edit a soundbite, from Jada Curry in Louisville. So we'll definitely look out for her, coming up this year. And for the Louisville Cardinals in college basketball, another Curry. That's all I gotta say. Another Curry. You remember what Curry? You remember what Steph did at Davidson. So this might be the second coming. So, and even what Steph did at Duke. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Like I said, not that much, info phobe. I'll definitely be back in the next couple of days. Now I got more time to actually talk with you guys, more questions to ask you guys about, the NBA Finals once it kicks off, as it gets closer, asking more questions, predictions, things of that sort. So, yeah, that's pretty much it for me. Like I said, if you have any questions, just feel free to call in the basement, 302-844-8275. Number again is 302-844-8275. We can be reached on Instagram at _the_basement_podcast. YouTube and Facebook sounds so good you can name it twice. Just in the basement podcast. Just look us up. We're in the building. That's all you got to do. Just hit the button. Hit that subscribe and like button. Also, definitely want to send shout outs to everybody. Shout out to the Freeman family. Shout out to my Osborns. Dad. I know he's out there driving that bus. Definitely safe travels up there in Boston. Also, shout out to SB Talk Sports, Best of Seven podcast, Get Your Bars Up Media. Shout out to the Scott family. I saw you guys were traveling the other day, man. I was just, man, my heart was filled with joy when I saw you guys talking to your relatives. Shout out to all my Deltas out there. Shout out to the AKAs out there. Shout out to Penn State. Shout out to the Black Psychologist podcast. Shout out to the Baby Bro. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So we're signing off. I will hear from you. Have a great weekend. And I will see you during next week before the final starts. You guys have a great weekend. Behave yourselves.